It's a Guy Jeans podcast.
My guest today is Chris Taylor from the band Dubseeds from Bakersfield, California. For those of you that don't know, Dubseeds are a reggae rock group that has been in existence since 2008. Their West Coast Reggae sound has carried the band all over the California and Nevada area to colleges, clubs, bars, casinos, and festivals. They have shared stages with genre notables Pepper, The Dirty Heads, Ika Mouse, Fishbone, Iration, Tribal Seeds, Easy Star All-Stars, Tomorrow's Bad Seeds, Mike Pinto, and many, many more. In 2013, the band was invited to perform at the iconic Cali Roots Festival in Monterey. After 2 full-length albums and an EP, the band is still pushing forward, performing live shows at a venue near you. If you guys want to see a great band live, go check these guys out. The musicianship and songwriting are excellent. Check out their music on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, or go to dubseeds.com. I talked to Chris about growing up in Bakersfield, his music, band and songwriting, performing and touring around the West, and some of those experiences. It was awesome. He gives some great advice to up-and-coming musicians trying to get into the business. It was a pleasure to talk to such a down-to-earth, hard-working human, man. The guy is super cool. So without further ado, here's Mr. Chris Taylor. Chris, how you doing?
Hey, good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing really good, man. I'm super stoked to have you on my podcast. Thanks for being here, man.
Oh, thank you, man. It's great to be on, and yeah, thanks for inviting me. This is awesome.
Well, I'm a total fan of the Dubseeds, so I'm super stoked to talk about your band and what you guys are doing and all that good stuff. But I want to know a couple of things. You know, where did you grow up, and how did you get into reggae music?
Oh man, yeah, that's a good question. Well, like I said, first, thank you for having me on. This is really cool.
Yeah.
I've been watching the Stoneflies, and you guys are being super busy right now, and that's really awesome. So
thanks, man.
Congratulations on that. But yeah, I was born and raised in Bakersfield, man, in the reggae-rich environment of Bakersfield, California.
That's a question I have for you as well, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's not really a reggae environment. Obviously, it's known for its country music roots. But yeah, born and raised here. Went to high school, Bakersfield High School, and moved around a little bit. Lived in Nevada for a little bit and stuff, but mostly lived here in Cali. And I got into reggae music. Probably back in high school is when I first heard my first Marley song. I heard Redemption Song for the first time. And something about that song stuck with me, and just kind of started getting interested, about the reggae genre from there, and just kind of started exploring it after that. Really.
Did you always play guitar, like through high school, or did you pick it up after that?
Yeah, it was something I kind of picked up in the later years, actually. In fact, I had my mom and all of my aunts and uncles used to play in church bands growing up, and the gospel groups, getting the praise and worship team.
Yeah.
So I'd always watch them play and stuff, but I never really had any interest to play until probably maybe my senior year in high school. And I was at a friend's house, and his older brother had a band, and they were in the backyard jamming around and playing at a barbecue, and then they kind of invited everybody to join in and threw either someone with some maracas or a Congo drum or tambourines. Everyone had to get involved.
Yeah.
And I got in on a little Congo drum and started beating around with them. And that first, when you get that vibe where everyone's jamming and on that same rhythm, it just kind of hooks you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah.
Kind
of got into music from that. So yeah.
Okay. Very cool. My podcast is kind of, I talk to a lot of different people that, basically start out doing exactly what you're doing, and then the next thing you're playing at parties, and the next thing you're playing, bigger shows and clubs, and the next thing you're playing the bigger theaters and bigger shows and opening for acts and stuff like that. So the story that you have, going from hearing Redemption Song to playing in backyards to, let's go into how you started with the band and all that.
Yeah, it kind of just like you said, you kind of hear those songs first, and you kind of get hooked from a certain vibe or a feel of the music, and you almost kind of want to replicate it. You hear this sound, you're like, oh, I want to try that, something like that. And it doesn't really start with playing in backyard parties first. It usually starts playing in front of your grandma or your baby brother,
yeah,
or someone who can't get away. You can force to listen to you, and then you just kind of start playing around, and after a while, you get your confidence kind of starts to build up. When a few people kind of, hey, that's really good. I like that. That's cool. And then you kind of get that confidence boost, and then you want to keep going more and more. And for me, it was always about being creative. I know a lot of musicians tend to want to play this Metallica song, or play this note for note on here, or learn all the Nirvana songs, or something like that. And for me, after I learned a couple chords, I wanted to create. I wanted to write my own stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that got started.
And you guys have done a few albums, which I want to talk to you guys about too. Talk about your band and all that as well. When you're writing a song, or how did you write your first song? Like, did you just kind of start, it came to you and you started playing some chords, and then you had a melody in your head and that sort of thing? And then also second question is, do you remember playing that for your first time in front of somebody?
Yeah. On both of those. The first song I ever wrote was probably just, I was one of my first chord progression I ever came up with that actually sounded pleasing to my ears. You're kind of messing around with different chord structures and different notes a lot when you're just learning how to play and trying to find something that clicks or sounds just right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I got that first kind of like chord progression, it's like, oh yeah, I like the way that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Then naturally something about it made me want to start singing along or humming, another melody along with it,
Yeah.
And then so, that's kind of, just where you get that. It's instinctual, it's just kind of inside you, when you start getting that melody, you kind of want to hum to it or whistle to it or something, like that. So, that's kind of how I got my first song. And I remember it was kind of like I said, the first time I played in front of anybody was just a group of friends in the living room. And that was my first gig. Just a couple friends. We had a couple beers, and we let me hear what you got. Let's see this song. And
how'd it go?
Like I said,
people like it.
Cool. They were my best friends, so they had to give me some positive feedback.
Yeah, cool.
But they liked it, and so I just wanted to keep going from there.
Isn't that cool, man? Isn't that a cool feeling? Like when you write a song and people are all stoked on it and stuff.
Well, that's what it's about. It's about expressing yourself and seeing how the people react. And, whether it's happy, excited, or they get a romantic feeling from it, or they want to party and rock their head, just seeing how they react, to your art form. It's really neat. Yeah.
Some of the songs that I like California, Hypnotize, some of your original songs are excellent songs, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and they've got great riffs, and your musicians that you have, you currently have a keyboard player, which you always haven't had a keyboard player, right? And you've added him in the last 3 years or something.
Yeah, it's been probably about 4 years now, I would say.
Okay.
But he's kind of a relatively new addition to the band. We were usually a 3-piece for most of our span, but the last few years we've included him, and he's an amazing keyboard player. He really adds to the overall sound. So
he plays one of those Nords, man. It's got those killer organ sounds on it and stuff, man. And I love that.
Yeah, and
he's
got that classic vibe. Yeah,
totally. And he plays really good melodies and that sort of thing. So when you guys are writing songs, or is it mainly that you doing the songwriting and then you bring it in and the band kind of adds their 2 cents kind of a thing, or how's that work?
So it's kind of like that, as simple as that. I'm usually at home by myself, and it's just kind of noodling around on the guitar. And then if I find something that I like, I might add some lyrics.
Yeah.
And if I like it enough to add lyrics, and I can make a full song out of it, and then I'm like, hey guys, check this out.
Mhm.
And we get in the studio and practice it out, work it out. A lot of times we'll even work it out just on stage.
Right.
We don't get a chance to practice as much as we want. So, we'll be on at a show and it's like, hey, here's some chords, let's jam around on this,
Isn't that fun? And,
Oh, yeah,
and people
yeah.
dig it too, probably.
When they dig it, then we know to keep going with it, so
Yeah.
it's kind of a good audience reaction,
So your bass
But,
player too, man. I totally impressed with your bass player. He grooves hard, man. He leaves a lot of space, which I like in reggae too. But he's grooving, and then your guys' drummer. What an amazing drummer too.
Yeah, I'm really blessed to work with such an amazing few guys with my band. I mean, these guys are truly some of the best musicians here in this town. As you mentioned already, Eric Bracamonte on keys. I mean, he teaches keyboard lessons as well.
Oh, does he?
He's an instructor. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
But he's just amazing. He just has that reggae groove down to a T, and then he can get that and throw melodies on top of it while keeping that pocket.
Right.
So he kills it. On bass, I mean, we've got Gary Rink. I mean, that's kind of enough said right there. Gary is well known all throughout this area as being one of the best bass players around, and everybody loves Gary as well. He's just the sweetest guy in the world. And but yeah, he's killer on bass. And then we got Jason Blakely on drums, and he's probably he is the newest member of the group. He's been with me probably about 2 years now. But yeah, he's all over it. I mean, he's such an addition. He's got such a unique sound. It's kind of a real punchy feel.
Yeah.
Real pocket player, but then he likes to add on those little fills and rolls here or there. A little jazz it up a little bit. So yeah, like I said, I'm really just feel lucky, honestly, to be playing with these guys. So yeah, it's just so much fun.
You are, man. Where did you find the drummer?
I've known Jason, for years. He joined a band called Hayesfield probably about a decade ago. And before we were Dubseeds, we were called Seed. And, we used to play around town with this other group a lot called Hayesfield. We were kind of the only two reggae-ish bands here in town, so we used to double up a lot. And so, yeah, I've known him and, known of him for a long time. But whenever we have an opening, with us, Gary was really good friends with Jason and invited him in and, just clicked right away and, haven't looked back since.
Does he play electric drums as well as is he play when you guys play live? Does he play electric drums?
So it depends. Recently, he's been leaning more on the electric kit, and to be honest, I love it. I mean,
sounds
it just
killer,
sounds
man.
so
I'm like,
good.
wow, the sounds are so.
And we
fat.
can tune it just right, exactly how we want it. It's perfect, in the space of all the other instruments. I really love the sound from the electric kit. But yeah, he does play both. So. A lot of times when we do the festivals, it's easier just to play the acoustic kit. But any chance we have to get him on the electric, we prefer that for sure.
He's good, man. I love his reggae style he's got going. Plus the sounds on his drum kit sound insane, man. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So are you guys?
He's the man.
Are you guys playing a lot of shows? I mean, it seems like. From what I can see, that you guys are playing all the time. Is that right?
Yeah, we're staying busy for sure. Almost a little too busy.
Really?
But it's fun. People keep they want you for this party or they need you for this date, and they're so adamant about it, and we hate to turn people down. So, but yeah, we're definitely staying busy. It's summertime, and obviously a lot of concerts and shows are happening. Festival season. So yeah, we're definitely. Staying busy for sure.
The first time I saw you guys, I think it was at Fish Lips. Is that right? Like,
okay.
Did you guys play there? I think it was Fish Lips. You guys played there, right?
Yeah. We played there all the time. Yeah.
So, dude,
it's kind of our home base for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm been here. I'm relatively new. I've been up in Kernville for 20 years now with my business and whatnot. But I was really unaware of the music scene when I first got here, I was, so immersed in music in the Ventura, Santa Barbara area,
Yeah.
in San Luis Obispo. So I was really kind of clueless, except I knew Matt Munoz from Mento Buru, played with him a couple times in Ventura and whatnot. And so I knew of them. But, so I go, let's all go down to Bakersfield and check out the bands and stuff. And I saw that you guys were playing. So I'm like, let's go check out these guys. And so that's how I discovered you guys was.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I'm like, wow, these guys rip, man. And then later on,
classic venue.
Yeah, totally. It was great. I loved it. And I was kind of unaware, that there was actually like, a smaller reggae ska scene in Bakersfield, right?
It's a little shocking.
Yeah,
there's definitely a scene here. I think it's kind of started a little bit, with Mento Buru.
Yeah.
Obviously they play a lot of Spanish and cumbia, but there's a lot of ska influence in what they play as well.
Yeah.
And they'll bust out their reggae covers, and in fact, they were probably one of the first ska bands I ever heard live.
Yeah.
So they definitely have had an influence here, and I remember starting out, like 2004, I want to say. And there was Vanity Avenue was another ska reggae group that was here in town. We used to play with a lot. And, there's definitely been a lot of other bands that have come through. That Cali vibe, Cali roots scene has definitely kind of flourished here a lot as well. So there's, a lot of musicians here that, are really kind of exploring that reggae sound and, looking towards that whole reggae culture, which is really neat in this country, town that we live in. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
I got to tell you a funny story, man. So, like you guys, I think, had played up in Kernville at the park, the Kernville park, concert series or whatever. And
that was so much fun.
Yeah. Dude, the first time that I played at that, some people came up to me that were like local musicians, they're like bluegrass type country artists up there. And they're all, "Guy, what kind of music is that called?" Like, they hadn't heard it before. It was pretty funny. And then another friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, whose dad grew up in Bakersfield, he's all, Guy plays that music called Reggae. It's pretty funny, just hearing all that, just kind of introducing all them to that music is awesome, and they like it. It's fun.
Yeah, fact, it's one of those things that if people hear the name, they're probably like they think they're going to be turned off by it, but when they hear it live and they're not suspecting it, they're like, "Oh, I actually really kind of like that."
Yeah, And you guys were gracious enough to do some benefit concerts up in Kernville to raise money for the Kernville Hatchery, man. So I don't know if I ever got to say so. Thank you for that. That really helped out.
Oh no, of course, that was a lot of fun. Fish stock, man. How can we forget?
Stock,
man? We need to bring that back
with Pato Bonton.
Pato Bonton, yeah, that was a great show. I'll never forget that.
That was fun, huh?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think it was me and you and our girls. We were sitting there dancing together in the crowd to Pato Bonton that night. Right.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah.
What a great entertainer he is, huh?
Oh man, like honestly, he's probably one of the best reggae performers I've seen live. That's saying a lot. I've seen the Wailers, Steel Pulse.
Yeah.
A lot of these bigger acts, but I mean, as far as choreography and just the pure how well they play, they're quite an act, man. They're amazing.
Yeah, it's fun, man. So, who are some of the bands that you've played with over the years? I know it's a lot. Can you name a few of those?
Oh gosh, yeah. We've opened up for usually anytime, a lot of the time when some of the bigger reggae acts come through, their promoters try to reach out to some of the local reggae acts, and so they've inevitably our name has popped up on a lot of lists. We've been able to open up for a lot of different people. The original Wailers. Yeah. It's funny. The first big act we ever opened up for was at Fish Lips, and it was Digital Underground.
Oh wow.
Shock G, rest in peace.
Yeah.
But we've opened up not even just for reggae, but even like some hip hop acts like Afro Man as well.
Oh no way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then we opened up for Pepper at the Dome, the old Dome venue back in Bakersfield.
Awesome. Where was that at?
Yeah,
Where was the dome at?
it was downtown Bakersfield, I think off of V Street. It was a
Okay.
real iconic place. So a lot of punk bands played there, and then they started putting on shows, some more like festival type shows, and bringing in a lot of other acts from out of town. But they closed down, and actually the building's been demolished. They did that a couple years ago, so
Oh,
it's kind of
okay.
a sad sad state with that. But yeah, the dome was a legendary spot. Yeah.
And then who else?
Gosh, man, we've played. One band that we played opened up for a few times that came through was the Dirty Heads,
Oh, no way.
and yeah, they're pretty big. They're on the radio and everything.
That's a big, that must have been a pretty big crowd, man.
They did put on they obviously had a really big crowd. They put on a good show, and
Yeah.
to be honest, for such a big act, they were the coolest guys.
That's cool.
Duddy B in the band always made sure to be like, "Hey man, you guys sounded great. You guys, I love your sound. Just give us a little compliment.
Nice.
Each time we played. And so I thought that was really cool. They didn't have to do that. A lot of times those
Yeah.
bigger acts try not to even rub elbows with the opening guys.
Yeah.
But no, they were really cool actually.
And you guys have played Cali Roots, which is a big venue as well, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the Woodstock of the Cali reggae scene.
Yeah, man.
But,
that's a big honor.
Yeah, it was cool. We were definitely honored to do it. It was back in 2013, probably right at the height of our popularity.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we had just come out with our second album, Skunk Face, at the time, and we were going all up and down Cali and going through Nevada, just kind of touring around, playing, promoting that album. We played the Sacramento Hemp Fest, and yeah, somehow we caught the attention of the people at Cali Roots, and they got us on in their 2013. So yeah, it was a great experience. Again, kind of got to rub elbows with a lot of those bigger acts and entertainers, and yeah, it was really neat. It was a lot of fun.
How big were the crowds, do you think, that you were playing there? Were they, how many people do you think that was?
I mean, the whole festival had thousands and thousands of people, but they
Yeah.
kind of sectioned everything off in different areas, So, I mean,
Yeah.
we probably had close to maybe about 1,000 people or so right there in our little area that we were playing at.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really neat just being up there in Monterey. We got to camp out and everything. So they had Slightly Stupid on the bill that year. Revolution, Tribal Seeds,
Yeah.
Modest Yahoo was also on the bill. So yeah, it was kind of neat. I remember showing up and getting our passes, and as soon as we walked in, Slightly Stupid was on stage playing, and you get that kind of feeling like, oh man, like this is it. But
You know what's crazy?
Cool.
You know what's crazy is like, going back to like, you playing in that backyard, just playing the bongos
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're playing on these bigger stages, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
How that works out?
The journey, man. Yeah, the journey. It's neat where it starts and where it ends. And it still hasn't ended. It's slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
You kind of start working and you get a family and kids get involved.
Right.
And, start looking at what's more important in life. Get a little distracted, but yeah, we're still going and still doing our thing. So yeah, it's really neat. Yeah.
So what do you think's like the biggest crowd that you've played for in your past?
Oh man, gosh.
Like what's the and there's a reason why I'm asking that question.
It's kind of a toss up. We played. In fact, I mentioned earlier. I don't remember if it was before that we were talking or not, but I told you we had played at the Ventura Theater.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty big crowd.
It's crazy in there.
That was a good one. Yeah, that was really nice. I liked that spot. We played at the Fox here in town for a pretty big crowd, but even the Village Fest here in town.
Right.
Yeah. Gosh, man, that's a packed spot. I mean, last year, there was just a sea of people in our little area.
I saw that, man. I saw some video of that.
Yeah,
it
was a lot of fun. Yeah.
So when you're playing, describe the feeling, before you're going on stage and you look out there and you see all those folks. What's that like for you? Like before, right when
it's
you're getting
exciting.
ready? Yeah. What's that feeling
Yeah,
like?
it's just like a shot of energy. It's just the adrenaline and excitement and anticipation all rolled into one. It's really neat that we even have the opportunity to take a
Yes.
stage and
Right.
let people, listen to what we have to say. I mean,
Yeah.
not a lot of people have that, ability or opportunity. And a lot of people that are given the opportunity aren't appreciated.
Yeah.
And it doesn't last very long, and so I
Yeah.
mean, just the fact that these people are willing to let us, just a few guys from Bakersfield come up and play some music for them and
Hmm.
dance and clap. It's really it's just an exciting feeling. And each time we do it, it's almost like a new journey, a new experience. We're meeting someone new. It's a new vibe, and each crowd you play for is honestly different. I mean, that.
Yeah.
Every time you play, it's just each show's different, has a unique feel.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things that's addicting. You can't ever get away from it, even when you think, I'm going to slow down, but
Yeah.
no, it's in you. Once you're a musician, you can never get that feeling, out. You're always craving that feeling right before you go on stage, for sure.
Do you get nervous before going up on
Oh, yeah.
on stage?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I still get the butterflies, man.
For sure. Yeah. It's just part of
Especially if if I haven't, if it's been like a few weeks in between gigs or something like that, and I'm not like constantly getting up on stage. It's like, okay, all right, just calm down, just remember the songs.
Yeah.
I rely on the guys behind me a lot. With those guys, it's pretty easy to get them going. Then I can just ride on top of their coattails. But
Yeah.
yeah, you definitely get nervous, man. Those butterflies never go away.
Yeah, for sure. I can remember. I took like a 10-year break, and was
Really?
and didn't play for 10 years, and then we had a kind of one of my bands got back together, and our show, dude, was at the Ventura Theater. And
Oh man, how about that?
yeah, and we had a pretty good following in the Ventura Santa Barbara area, and so
Yeah.
it's sold out, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
so
I
we
bet they
hadn't-
couldn't wait to hear you guys after 10 years.
Dude, I hadn't played in 10 years. And so like going on stage in front of all those people, I was tripping. I was like, oh my God. And, walking out there,
Shaking in your shoes, man.
just going, holy cow. But the crowd makes you feel good, cause they're so stoked.
Oh yeah.
And so what a great feeling, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best, man. When you get that reaction from the crowd, that positive feedback, that reaction, that we want more.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
always a great feeling. Yeah.
I've never been inside the Fox Theater in Bakersfield, but is it similar to the Ventura Theater? Cause they look a lot alike from the outside.
Yeah, it's kind of got that same old timey feel to it, that
Does it?
classic, theater feel. I don't think it's quite as big as the Ventura Theater, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
The Fox Theater maxes out, I think, at about 1,500 people.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a great place to play. Actually, it's a lot of fun there.
Yeah, I saw a video of you guys playing there, and
Yeah,
looked like you guys were the opening act for somebody. I'm not sure, but you guys were tearing it up.
yeah. We played a couple shows there post COVID because they were one of the few venues that were allowed to open up at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of a funny story. We were going to open up. One of the bands was a tribute band, and their name was the Red Knot Chili Peppers.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
And the sad thing about that is if you're driving by the venue anywhere faster than 25 miles an hour and you see that marquee up in the sky, that N kind of looks like an H.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought we were opening for the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh my God.
And I can't tell you how many people got upset after they bought tickets realizing that it wasn't the actual band,
No way. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. We really had a kick over it. But yeah, we played our hearts out, and I won't say too much about the other band.
Oh no. So what is your feeling about like these bands like that that cover other bands like that, there's a band that covers like No Doubt or Boston or the Red Hot Chili Peppers or any of those bands, and there's Foreigner, the list goes on, right?
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. Like, what's your feeling on all those bands?
It kind of depends. For some of the older classic bands, I think that, if the musicians can really do it justice, I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Because you really don't get a chance to see, some of those older bands, those classic rock bands anymore.
Right.
They're obviously broken up, or members have died, or just whatever. But
yeah.
So I think that's really neat when some of those bands, go on tour and they're able to kind of recreate some of that, feeling of actually going to an actual Led Zeppelin concert or an actual Pink Floyd concert.
Yeah.
But when it's something like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who are still a band and still going on tour and still playing their full repertoire of songs,
right.
I think you got to be really careful when you're doing a tribute to a band like that.
Yeah.
And so, it's just kind of a, two-sided coin, I guess, but if the band's still alive and they're still doing their thing, I think you should probably hold off on the tribute, a little bit.
I wonder how they feel about it, like the guys in the Red Hot Chili Peppers feel about a band doing something like that. And
we were talking about it at that very night because we were kind of astonished that this band could get away with it, just changing one letter in the name of the band and then still playing all of their songs.
Yeah.
I can't believe that this is the first time that's happened where there's been a mix-up and people bought tickets thinking it was the actual Chili Peppers.
Whoa.
So, I couldn't believe that they had kind of gotten away with it. But, I don't know if Flea and Anthony Kiedis are aware of what's going on or not. But
so talking about that show, did people get really upset at the band and stuff, like when they were playing? Can you say?
Not while they were playing, to be honest,
Okay.
but they weren't very enthusiastic. And we heard a lot of people called me beforehand, telling me, hey, we bought tickets and it's not the real Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew that people were kind of misled, going up to it. And then at the concert, people came up to us afterwards and, hey, man, you guys were great, but that other band, we thought they were the real Chili Peppers, and we didn't realize it was a tribute band. And it was just, I think they needed to be more clear.
Yeah.
It wasn't the actual Chili Peppers, because, there were people that were misled.
Yeah.
And I can't think that, that was the first time that happened. It had to have been other times,
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you on those bands too. It's like a lot of those bands. It's like especially if there's bands still playing live, and then there's bands imitating them and stuff. It's almost like I don't know. It's like taking away from them, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
kind of a vibe.
Yeah,
and I like bands that are playing. At least a majority of their sets are originals, and being creative and, writing their own music and stuff like that. That's what I enjoy about you guys, is that you have,
thanks.
You guys have your sound, and your voice, of course, and it kind of creates that unique sound that you guys have. And it's fun to listen to because there's not really anybody else that sounds like that. Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's it's like you said, it's being able to have that privilege to express yourself, and people really listen to it and give you honest feedback, but we're really lucky to be able to do what we do and get the positive reaction.
Yeah.
But
I was telling
it's a lot of fun.
I was telling my band and some other musicians, we were all sitting around, and the community, the musician community, I spend a lot of time playing in the Ventura, Santa Barbara area still. Yeah. And that community there is like real supportive of each other, of all the musicians, and, everybody goes and sees each other play and supports the bands and stuff like that, which is super cool. Yeah. But I was talking to a lot of them, and I'm like, you guys, isn't it amazing that we have the privilege of playing these places, and people actually come and listen to us play, and how cool that is, man. Right.
Yeah.
It's just a cool thing, man. And a lot of it, a lot of them are playing original music, not all of them, but most of them. And that's what I love that part of it, man. I love the creative.
Yeah, there's a lot of creative people out there, and it's cool to be able to hear some of their takes. You don't have to go turn on the TV or turn on the radio to be able to hear some real, good music or, real good piece of art. There's a lot of talented people right here in our hometowns,
Yeah.
And especially, even here in Bakersfield, like we were talking, there's a real strong, thriving music scene here. There's
God,
a lot of talent. So much talent.
Yeah.
In this town, people that can play any instrument you can imagine, that can play just as good as anyone and anywhere,
Oh, and the other thing, bands come through and stop and play in Bakersfield, man, and you have a chance to see all these great bands. You know, I just went to, and not just went, but a few months back, I went to see Willie Nelson. And
I did too. I was there.
Oh, you were? That was epic, man.
Yeah, that was such a fun show, man. How could you miss Willie?
He made my lady cry, you know, like with one of his songs. You know, I'm looking over at her, and she's got tears going down her eyes, you know, and I'm like, wow, you know, here's this dude, you know, this old, still playing music and still hitting people, you know, hard like that, you know.
Living legend, straight up living legend. And the show that he put on at night, what, did he just turn 90? Did they say that night? It was 89. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was like, my God.
Yeah, it was cool. And dude, the band that opened up for them, I think they're called the Appletons.
The Appletons, yeah. They just had a baby, by the way. Congratulations to them. They just had a little boy.
They were so good, and I had never heard them before. I was like, wow, man. And these guys were from Bakersfield. Yeah. They are a stellar group. They've got amazing talent. And Lauren, the singer, she just got this sound that is just hypnotizing. And then Kyle, her husband, on guitar, easily one of the best guitar players in this town, you know, for sure. And it's just we actually played with them in Tehachapi at one of the wine or beer fests. Yeah, I want to say last year, but they're just a stellar group. Yeah, easily one of my favorite bands here in town for sure. Their harmonies and just their sound and everything. Are they taking a break for a while because she had a baby?
I think so. Yeah, she literally probably just within a week or two, just recently had a baby. So you know, there's everything that goes with that. You know, they're definitely got, you know, their focus is on that for right now, of course, but it's a real exciting time for them. So,
have you ever played at that place where we saw Willie Nelson?
At the amphitheater. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I have probably about 15 years ago. Again, before we were Dubseeds, we were Seed, and we played one show there for something. I can't even remember who we opened up for. They had some summer jam or something, and we played there one time. Yeah.
That's a cool venue, man.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, you know, especially for something like that here in Bakersfield, to have that kind of outdoor, you know, venue. A lot of cool acts have come through there, you know, so it's really neat to be able to go to the park and, you know, sit outside and watch your favorite groups. So, man, it's really cool.
I went there and also saw UB40 recently. I was at that show, and and then there was another show where Pepper and Slightly Stupid played. I was there for that. That was, I mean, it was cool. It was hot. It was hot.
Yeah, it was.
You know, but whatever. You know.
Once the sun goes down, it's not that bad.
Yeah. So, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you at a show? If you have anything, can you share that with us?
Oh man, crazy stuff at shows, God.
Can you
you kind of really stumped me on that one. We had some crazy stuff happen, good and bad. So it's kind of hard to, you know, go with that one. You know, some crazy stuff. You know, we've had opened up for Eka Mouse one time at Fish Lips.
Oh yeah,
and he was probably about 2 hours late to the show.
Was he? People going nuts.
We were and we were informed on stage, hey, you guys got to play an extra 2 hours.
Oh my God.
So we kind of had to fill in, and then when he finally showed up, he was just all coked out beyond belief. And then next thing you know, he's getting behind the bar and playing with glasses and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And it was kind of a crazy event. I think that was one of the craziest shows we've had that just turned out to be kind of wacky.
I opened up for him in San Diego one time years ago, and met him. He was on time, but
good.
I said, hey, how you doing? My name's Guy, and he's all Mouse. All right, man, nice to meet you.
Yeah, he's a character. We opened up for him in Slow one year, and it was kind of funny because when we were on the way to the gig, I tried to remember to bring CDs. It's a big show. We got to bring CDs to sell some CDs. Well, I forgot the CDs. For some reason, I forgot these CDs. And so I told the guys, hey, if anyone asks for a CD, just say we sold out. You know, don't tell them we forgot. Just say we sold out, you know. Yeah. So I kind of had this answer prepped. And we were backstage in the green room, and Ika Mouse was there and his whole group. And me and my drummer were standing back there, and he said, "Hey, man, you guys sounded really good." And we said, "Thank you, man, thank you." He's like, "You guys have a CD?" And so immediately the first reaction was, say that response. It's like, "Oh, we sold out of our CDs." And then so he just kind of stops and looks me up and down for a second. He goes, "Well, look at you, you big time rock star." I was just like, felt like such an idiot, I was like, oh God, Ika Mouse is clowning me here. But
how many albums have you guys done?
We got 2 full lengths, and then we've got 1 EP with 3 songs on it, and we're getting ready to start recording another EP
Awesome.
with about 3 songs, maybe 4 songs on it. But yeah, we're getting ready to start recording that here in the next month or so.
What's your guys' most well-received song, do you think?
Oh man, I don't know. I think that's probably a toss-up between the 2 that you've already mentioned, between Hypnotize and California.
Yeah.
Hypnotize has been out there for a little bit, and that was when I think kind of helped us get into the Cali roots, that song.
Yeah.
But California, that's when we get a lot of requests for as well when we're out, playing shows.
Those are good songs, stuff, so. Man. Those are good songs.
Thank you, man.
They just have that feeling, that sound that you want to listen to over and over again,
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. Try to always create that vibe, that little rootsy vibe, something that kind of hooks.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, man. Thank you.
If people want to find out, where to listen to you guys, or, your website, what are your handles so they can check you out?
Yeah. The easiest spot is to go to dubseeds.com.
Okay.
That's the main website, and it's got links to, Facebook and Instagram and Spotify, all of that stuff. I try to keep the shows updated on dubseeds.com. Sometimes I get a little busy.
It's hard to do, man.
Man, I need to find a full-time manager. I need to hire somebody.
For
man.
Sure.
But yeah, we definitely post on Instagram and Facebook when, the next gig is. In fact, next weekend we're going to be in Nevada, just outside of Vegas.
Awesome.
This little town called Indian Springs. They got a casino there. Has got their 45th year anniversary or something. So
you guys are doing that show?
Yeah, and that should be fun. So maybe play a little blackjack later on afterwards.
Hell yeah!
See what happens.
Get some poker. So
there you go.
Can people still buy your albums, or can you go to iTunes or anything like that?
Yeah, we're on iTunes still, and I think what is it? iTunes, Apple Music is what it is now, and then I think on Amazon Music as well. It's pretty much anywhere that you can get digital music, and we've got it posted up there. So, and you can always go on Spotify and listen to us as well. We got a Dubseeds channel, so
okay,
yeah, cool. not hard to find. So
you've done probably thousands of shows, right? So, which is, to get good at something, they say you got to do, 1,000 hours of whatever, but you've probably done that many shows, which is many more hours, right? So
yeah, we've done close to that at least. Yeah.
So what advice could you give to young up and coming musicians that are wanting to do something like what you're doing? And, playing music and writing songs and stuff. What advice could you give them?
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, it's kind of like what you literally just said, so you got to put in the work, you can't expect to go in there and play and sound like Jimi Hendrix on your first, time you pick up the guitar or your first performance,
Right.
You've got to be willing to just go in there and mess up. And if you mess up, it's okay, because that's part of performing as well. And you have to know how to recover from a mess up live on stage.
Yeah.
So, each time you get up on stage, it's kind of like a little brick of confidence, when you want to build that huge wall of confidence.
Yeah.
And, you just really got to, like you said, put in those hours. It's just practice. And the more you repeat it, the more repetition, and it just gets easier. And, I always say to watch lots of concerts of, your favorite live bands, watch how they perform live and how they interact with crowds. And, you kind of pick up certain things from them, and then you kind of incorporate, your own style after a while. But yeah, it's just, you really got to get in there, and you can't be afraid to just, get rejected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't be afraid of rejection or failure. You just got to get in there and just keep trying and plugging away. And yeah, that confidence comes, after a while. It definitely does.
David Grohl, from the Foo Fighters,
Yeah, yeah.
he said you just got to go out there and
Legend.
play and suck.
Yeah, straight up. Straight up.
You got.
Yeah, that was everything I just said simplified in one little tiny sentence. You just have to go out there and suck, and the more you just go out and suck, then you learn how not to suck later on.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Hey, Chris, thanks so much for being on my podcast. What a pleasure, man. And
Guy, thanks for having me, man. Thank you, man.
And I wish you, more success. And I'll be there when I can to support you and see you guys play, man.
Thanks,
love hearing you guys play, and hope to get out there soon, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. And man, it's been a long time since Stoneflies and Dubseeds have
it's time.
joined the stage together, man. It's time, man.
It's time. It'd be
fun
to
put something together.
It'd be fun to do like a local, reggae ska show. I was talking to
Yes.
Matt Munoz about that too, man. We should do that somewhere somehow.
Yeah, that'd be fat. Yeah, get a Mento involved and Stoneflies, Dubseeds. Yeah, we could put on our own little summer reggae festival right there, man, for sure.
I put in the word to Matt, to play at Village Fest again too. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll be playing with you there.
Sweet. Yeah, that'd be fun. Hopefully get the same stage. Yeah, that's always fun.
All right, man. Well,
Can't wait for Village Fest.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Chris, and we'll talk soon, man.
Man, thank you so much, brother. It's good to talk to you, man.
You too. See you around.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
It's a Guy Jeans podcast. It's a Guy Jeans podcast.